Okay. If you know that you want to write a book this year, or you're midway through a project and you found yourself not making the time, getting stuck, feeling blocked, procrastinating, just getting busy with all the other important things on your agenda, watch this because I'm going to teach you a technique called touch it every day. Now, it sounds a little dirty.
He took it out.
But it's not that kind of touch it every day. All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to talk you through a strategy that I have used over and over. I'm writing my 7th book. I have 6 consecutive bestsellers, and this is what I do anytime I hit the wall. And it can happen for so many reasons. So let's just do a quick diagnostic. I'm going to tell you real talk because the reason I'm making this video is that this just happened to me with the 7th book that I'm in love with and excited about, and I want to do it. And I run 2 businesses. I have a 14-year-old son. I have a dog. I'm in a marriage of 24 years. I have family. I have obligations. There's a lot going on. And even though I love this book and I want to do it, we're getting ready to launch our new Monetize Your Book Club. And I'm leading an in-person event in California in 3 weeks from today exactly. And there is a tremendous amount. It's 4 days straight of, presenting and videos and multimedia. And I want to make it extraordinary. So you've got your list, which is a version of my list, which is that you don't have the time and you have a lot going on. And there's also just, the sort of regular life stuff like getting groceries and, doing the dishes and all of that. Also, simultaneously, I'm aware that there are internal resistances. So I want you to check for these too, okay? Internal resistance for me can show up like a lot of different things. Fear that if I actually write this book and put it out there, what if it's not as good as it seems like it is in my mind, or when I'm, walking around getting inspired, I have to face the potential of the dream versus the reality. What if it, someone comes out with something similar or faster than I get? There's all this like stuff. Okay. So I want you to think about your external list, which is all your other obligations and things that press on your time. And I want you to think about any potential internal resistance that can be doubts, fears, imposter syndrome, fears of failure, fears of not being good enough, fears of it sucking, fears, Elizabeth Gilbert was writing Eat, Pray, Love, a book many of us have heard about, if not read and loved. And she was, in multiple interviews said that at the time of writing, she would have these cringe moments of feeling like this is going to be like a bad journal entry. Like it's going to be a bad journal entry. Like no one's going to want to read this. This is a book that started a movement of people traveling and eating and pursuing their true, pleasure. And their people say, I'm going to pull and eat, pray, love. Okay. It was that big of a deal of a book, and she was worried it was going to be like a bad journal entry. So the internal and external resistance are never going anywhere. We usually are going to have both, either once in a while or chronically, throughout our writing process. So I found myself, I do feel excited about this book. For sure, there's internal, fear and resistance that I just straight with you about here. And there are really real external things. There is a colossally full schedule. And I know in my soul that that's important to me. It's important to me that I write this book this year. I write it now. I don't want to put it off for X months. And frankly, my schedule's never going to be, there's never going to be a perfect time until, I would be retired or whatever. So what are we going to do about it? This brings us to suddenly I was, read my living my best life journal. I am a big, believer in journaling out like the resistance and like see what is actually coming up. What are those external and internal pressures that were really getting in the way? And I'm aware that I was taking care of the urgent versus the important because the book's important. And I was letting the urgent get priority. So maybe you can relate. So I'm journaling, I get that clarity, and I think, what is it? The truth is I don't have long stretches of time. I don't even have good writing wedges, which is a technique that I teach in Thought Leader Academy. I really don't. I have micro moments. So I thought, And I remembered a writing teacher that I had years ago who we were doing a novel in a year. That was the sort of the premise of this course that we were in. It was like you write one page a year for 365 days and you have a manuscript, right? And she said that her technique every single time, and she's had multiple, New York Times books and, all kinds of things. She said, I touch it every day. And then your inner Beavis and Butthead will come out and be, she said, touch it.
You should have heard what you just said, Butthead. He said, we need to get more balls.
Okay, but the point is, she just said no matter what, she does one thing on the book, like as a non-negotiable. If it's one sentence, if it's one word, if it's I teach a technique, you can watch our video on story banking, like just getting an idea going, voice dictating a section that I can transcribe, turn into manuscript pages later, one thing every day. So I am starting today with Touch It Every Day with this book. No matter what, I do not go to bed until I have touched that book. I have put something into the bank of that book, whether it is a sentence, a word, a paragraph, a page, a chapter, a story, an idea, an interview. I'm writing a nonfiction book, and there's some really incredible research and stories that but I'm putting something in the manuscript every day, not just research or what I'm putting something in that manuscript every day. I am touching it every day. Okay. That is how I did this. My newest book that's out, Millionaire Codes, with Suzanne Longstreet. This is book number 7. And just to bring this home, why does it work? Why does Touch It Every Day think it's so insignificant? So our mind will tell us, what's the point? I have 5 minutes. What's the point? Well, the point is that a body in motion will stay in motion, right? If you remember 7th grade science class, the laws of entropy, the laws of physics. A body in motion will stay in motion. When we stop, it's very easy for that to become 2 days of stop and 3 days of stop and 4 days. I got into a roll and then I stopped and I didn't touch it. And then I didn't touch it. I didn't touch it because I was traveling for 3 weeks and I was working on these presentations and talks and I was speaking on stages and I had stuff to do. You do too. It's never going to be convenient. You're never going to have enough time. You're never going to have any, the conditions won't be right. You will never fully, have a gremlin free, inner critic free day, probably. So let's not make that a criteria. We don't need the externals to all be lined up. We don't need the internal to all be lined up. We're going to do what Stephen Pressfield calls turning pro, which means it doesn't matter if you're inspired, doesn't matter if you have energy, doesn't matter if you have time, you're going to touch it every day. Something in the book manuscript, that's what counts. Every day, get an accountability partner. Comment here, come into the community, help, and we will help you find an accountability partner so that you can be accountable. Because I know I can say, oh, I'm doing it, living my best life, I'm going to touch it every day. And then when all the other pressures and everyone needs a thing and the team needs this and the speaking person needs this and where's your reel and I need some video, touch it every day. It will move your project forward and then you'll create momentum and you're going to touch a little bit, touch a little bit more. And then you're going to start to I will commit to do with you to start to actually prioritize this important, needed piece of work. You wouldn't be watching this video if there wasn't something really important that you're here to share, and it can't wait. The world can't wait on everything in our lives, internally and externally, to line up. It's now. If not you, who? If not now, when? Touch it every day. I'm so excited to hear about it. Leave me a comment and let me know what happens as you start to build the momentum. You got this.